Now may I request Mr. Vishwanathan, Head Engineering Campus Hiring of Wipro, to address the gathering. With a big round of applause to Mr. Rishi.
Respected members of ICT Academy, Mr. Shivakumar, Mr. Anbu, rest of them who made this possible. Respected colleagues from the industry, respected partners from academia, hearty welcome to each one of you for this session. It's indeed a great honor as well as privilege for me to be part of this session. Firstly, I'd like to thank Shivakumar and Anbu for giving me this wonderful opportunity to be here, to meet all of you in single forum. Most of the faces are known to me, of course. We have interacted sometime in the past. But it's always nice to see all of you in one single room. And definitely it's a great initiative by ICT Academy for organizing conclaves like this, where it not only gives us like people like me or Sudeep or Varda to share some of our expectations. And it's also a great opportunity for you to network among yourself. I see a lot of people from different parts of the state here, which really makes this unique. And I like to, again, appreciate ICT Academy for creating such a wonderful forum. And very, very happy to be part of it. So in terms of context, it's been well said by Lakshmi and Shiva and Anbu, and of course, Sudeep stole most of the points which I wanted to speak, right? So, most of as an industry, it's similar, in terms of what all of us expect, and similarly the same from your side, your expectations also common in terms of what you expect from companies like us. So what I'll try to talk in maybe next 10 to 12 minutes is one, give a perspective in terms of what kind of opportunities exist in a company like us, what are the different kinds of hiring we do. And two is in terms of expectations, like what kind of skills, what we look for. Three is some of the changes which is impacting us and what the future looks like, right? See, overall, I totally agree with Sudeep that, we are living in exciting times. I have not seen so many opportunities coming. Most of you, I'm sure, are reading the papers in terms of, December 1st, we started this, or this IIT's campus hiring started, right? So what we have been reading in papers is absolutely amazing. In fact, yesterday, I had gone for a doctor's review, and he's a very, very famous doctor. So I was talking to him, so he was checking with me what you are doing and things like that. So first thing he was asking is, how can somebody get paid 1.5 crores or 2 crores salary? You would have seen in papers, Facebook or a Google or some of those companies paying 1.5 crores, 2 crores for a fresher from IIT. So he was asking, what is that value? I see doctors who are coming out of campuses or coming out of colleges don't even know how to check BP properly in terms of how to use that machine. But how is that in your industry you pay so much? So much of crores for people who are just passing out of degree, right? So I explained to him in terms of, it's a question of demand supply, wherein it's not that everybody in IIT get this kind of a salary. It's just a very, very selected few. That's primarily determined by demand and supply. There are very, very few people in this country who have that kind of a capability, and that's where all the companies are vying in these kind of institutions to hire the best of talent. So the analogy here is, in terms of the opportunities today is tremendous. There are more and more companies. If you see some of those startup companies like Flipkart is not a startup today, but Ola, Cabs, multiple companies making extremely high offers at a very, very high salary level as well. So the first message I want to leave with you guys is, opportunities are definitely there, and we are living in very, very exciting times. It's just that we need to make the product sellable. We need to ensure that the product has the right skills so that more and more companies like, Google or Facebook can get more and more students, not only from IITs, it could be from all institutions across the country. The second thing is, from a Wipro perspective, I'm sure, many of you in this room, we work with you, in terms of hiring. So broadly speaking, we do 3 or 4 kinds of hiring. One is engineering hiring, which I am responsible for. And then we do a lot of non-engineering hiring. And then third is we do some business unit specific hiring. So when it comes to engineering hiring, again, we have 2 categories. One is a normal hiring, which we do in campuses like yours. And we also hire star profiles. We hire star profiles from IITs, some of the top IITs in the country. Right. Again, in non-engineering, typically we offer 2 kinds of roles. As Sudeep was mentioning, it's one of the toughest hiring to do. And, we will be one of the largest players in this particular segment, in terms of the absolute numbers we hire is phenomenal. Again, here we have 2 programs. One is, we have a program called VACE and VISTA, which is primarily for BSc students to take up higher education opportunity. So we have been running this program right from the year 1995 with BITS Pilani, where students from BSc get enrolled into a 4-year course with us. So wherein they'll be working as well as doing an MS degree with BITS Pilani, that's VACE. And similarly VISTA, we run this program with Vellore Institute of Technology, VIT Vellore, right? So this is an opportunity, wonderful opportunity, I would say, for students to take up higher education as well as gain some work experience. So that's, and the other part of non-engineering hiring we do is in terms of direct employment. Again, BScs and MScs what we traditionally hire, and specifically for our infrastructure domain, right? So, and a very, very recent thing which we have started, next week we are rolling out is we are specifically hiring MCAs, for infrastructure domain. Again, this will be of interest to most of you here because, MCAs somewhere, we didn't have a program to specifically hire them. So what we are trying to do, and the reason we are doing this is, we are not able to meet the kind of demand what we have from BScs and MScs, due to multiple reasons. So another pool which we are trying to target this year, and the first event is in fact happening this weekend in Coimbatore, where we have started hiring these MCA students, specifically again for infrastructure domain. So that's a new opportunity which we are creating for colleges having MCA course. I know that MCA course is losing its sheen, but again, we want to revive and give some opportunities for students who are pursuing that course. The other set of hiring, what we do is business unit specific hiring, where we hire specific domain people for specific groups. For example, a petroleum engineer or an enterprise security engineer who have those specific skills for specific domains. And lastly, we do MBA hiring, but that's again, it's a very, very limited hiring. For strategic roles, we hire MBAs. So unlike the technical roles, we don't have so much of opportunities for MBAs, but again, we do hire MBAs from top-notch business schools. So from an engineering perspective, a lot of people may ask, how do you see? What we have is an accreditation framework, to empanel engineering colleges. So how it works is, a college has to be minimum 10 years old to get accredited with Wipro. Assuming if a college is more than 10 years old and they have a decent track record and they have some NBA and other accreditations, we can start looking at accreditation process. Somewhere in January, we want to start a new process of accreditation for colleges across the country. So wherein you can reach out to us and there will be a 2-stage process. The first stage will be you need to fill in some details, which is an online form. So once you fill in that details in the online form, and colleges which are above a certain threshold, we will do a next stage of evaluation, wherein their team from Wipro will come to your premises and do an evaluation. And then, if found good, we will accredit an institution, wherein the institutions can start participating in our hiring activities as well as the different engagement activities what we do. So this is in terms of engineering college accreditation. For other hiring we do in terms of BScs and MScs and the VACE Vista program, there is no formal accreditation process. So in case you have colleges in your location who will be interested to partner with us, we'll be more than happy, because the kind of demand we see for those kind of people is extremely high, and we'll be more than happy to support in terms of the arts and science hiring or this MCA hiring. We'll be more than happy to participate in your respective colleges. So in terms of Expectations, what is that, we look for? Two, three things is primarily, I'm sure you'd have heard all these things in various forums like this, and this is something that's not going to change. First and foremost, a good subject knowledge. Students need to be good in their own subjects. The second is around analytical skills. And third is communication. And fourth is attitude. These are essentially things which we look for. And specifically, I had some inputs, for, colleges in Tamil Nadu in terms of, I've spoken about this in various other forums in one-on-one as well. One thing which is worrying to us is in terms of aptitude skills of students from, Tamil Nadu. Primarily because we've done a lot of analysis. Last 3 years, we have gone completely online in terms of our aptitude test. So what we find is the test conversion percentages are, less in our state when compared to, the other states across the country. The averages what our students are able to perform in aptitude test is definitely something which we all need to work together. As I think Lakshmi was mentioning, in terms of Tamil Nadu contributes maximum, employment to the IT industry. I always tell with a lot of pride that even at Wipro, we hire the maximum number of students from TN, be it engineering, be it non-engineering, and it's possible because of all the efforts put in by each one of you that we were able to hire the maximum number of students, and we also have an early start advantage. Right here, the processes are mature, the colleges are mature. But one thing which is disturbing right now is this aptitude test performance. Unless we take measures to correct it, we may lose this advantage over a long run. Today we are in an advantage, because the colleges are established and there are good number of colleges available meeting the standards. But from a future perspective, we may lose out this advantage if we don't take these corrective actions. Most of us measure in terms of the entire throughput, right from test to interview to, how the candidate performance in the company, training performance, everything is getting measured. So what we need to improve significantly is the aptitude, in terms of analytical skills primarily, even verbal is still fine. But analytical approach is something which we need to really work on. And this cannot be done in a 1-month training before the placements. This is something which each one of you to ensure it's done right from the first year so that the students don't lose out on good opportunities. The second thing, where I see or as a company we see is a huge challenge is programming ability. What's happening is, from last year, we're trying a model. What we do is, even before the candidate joins the organization, we want to see some kind of a learning that happens when the student is in the campus itself. So what we are seeing is students are able to do, we have 2 evaluation that happens. One is the multiple choice questions to understand the conceptual clarity. And the second is we ask the students to write some basic programming, right? So what we have found is the multiple choice questions, somehow the students are able to do well. But when it comes to programming ability, writing simple programs, 10, 15 lines of code, we see a huge challenge among student community. So that's again, at the end of the day, we at IT industry are all expected to code, right? So this becomes essentially, I'll say an entry barrier if students are not picking up these skills. See, what we need to appreciate is, from our side, the long term or the future is we want deployable students with minimal training, right? So that's what the industry is moving towards. How can we get people who can be readily deployed? Because the investments in training and other things, they want to reduce. So given that kind of a scenario and with the kind of demand-supply mismatch that we are seeing today, it becomes essential for students to pick up programming skills. And it's not only, in Tier 2 or Tier 3 or even the best of campuses, what we find is ability to program is a challenge. The last thing which we need to have or develop is collaborative skills. More and more, what we are seeing is we are working in a global organizations where the environment you need to work with multiple stakeholders, with multicultural teams. So the ability to collaborate and work becomes extremely important. So that's something again where we need to focus and we need to have that kind of a behavior right in campuses so that students are well prepared to take up the future challenges. From all of you are heading the placements or head of institutions here. So we did a recent, survey among students in terms of what are those qualities, which will make them really excited. So I just shared some of the feedback, which as a representative of your college, you need to go back and see how you can create an environment where these students can pick up these qualities. So what are the things which is very important from a student perspective? The first thing is today's generations want to be respected. They want to be respected, people should respect them. That's the expectation. The second thing is they want opportunities to learn and grow, right? The third is they want to be inclusive, they want to be included in everything. The fourth is they want to do some meaningful jobs. And the last one is they want to be part of winning teams. So you need to take these teams and see how you can create an environment in your own institution, how you can make them inclusive, how can they get the right set of qualities in them to be successful. So in terms of some of the trends, Sudeep beautifully spoke about how technology is changing the world. So what we see is also similar in terms of social networking. That's something which is hitting each one of us in a good or bad way. The second is around mobile penetration. We are seeing huge penetration in terms of mobile phones and smartphones. The third thing, the change which is happening is gamification. This is something which you'll hear more in future. In future, if you look at it, the way we see it, this year itself, we want to hire at least 5% of our hiring through gamification techniques, right? And the future will be towards gamification. The students, it doesn't matter you are in an accredited college or not, but students who have that kind of an aptitude can really succeed. The fourth is around coding challenges. In terms of ability to code, as I said, is extremely critical. We also have a platform like Commune. We have something called Wipro Campus Arena, which is again a social learning platform where we conduct a whole lot of these contests. It could be coding contests, it could be paper presentations. There are multiple avenues where students can participate. And again, it's as placement officers, it's important that you leave this message to students because it not only creates an identity for them, it also creates an identity for the institution in terms of participating in a whole lot of these contests. And I've seen some of these institutions doing extremely well. They have dedicated team members just to focus on contests. But similarly, we need to have this thing across all colleges, wherein it will help you to position yourself better. Lastly, some of the future, fit for purpose hiring, that's what we see in future. Already, we are seeing specific people getting hired for specific roles. Sudeep was also talking about how mechanical engineers are hired. And this will be the trend of the future. Gone are the days when people hire en masse. People will start looking for specific skills. It could be VLSI or it could be embedded. We do a lot of security hiring. We do a lot of infrastructure hiring. So the future will be fit for purpose in terms of specific roles. You will hire specific people. So what it means for you people is you should, in addition, you need to look at how you can impart some specific domain skills for your students. That will be a good advantage. For example, it could be PLM or EDS or whatever be it. How specific skills can be imparted to students. Because the future is going to be there where fit for purpose or people who are suitable for a particular role will be hired for a particular stream. The second thing which we are seeing is diversified hiring. When I say diversified hiring, this year itself we took up an initiative. I went up to Arunachal Pradesh, northeast of the country, to Srinagar to hire people from different parts of the country. So that's again, how you can bring in the diversity in your own campuses is something which you need to see. Because what we have seen is if you have a diversified set of people in the same team, the performance of the team is better than, rather than having a same set of culture people. So diversified set of people hiring will start. And the third is differentiated hiring will happen. What you will find in your own campuses is, same batch, same students, different students may get different salaries from companies. You already see this in IIT's placements where companies go with different packages and offer them. So what we are seeing is the better ones will be paid better and there will be more opportunities for the better ones. So there will be a differentiated pay among students. The better students will get better salaries. So broadly, these are the trends. Once again, I'd like to thank each one of you, for helping us in our recruitment endeavors. And the final quote which I like to say is, a negative thinker sees a difficulty in every opportunity, wherein a positive thinker sees an opportunity in every difficulty. So be optimistic, and I'm sure each one of you will be successful. Thank you very much, and all the best.
Thank you, Vishi. It was a wonderful messaging from Wipro. If you have any question to Mr. Vishi, you can write down in the question sheet. Somebody will collect it from you and reach it to Vishi.